It was about building something great. And I get really emotional when I think about this. There was just so much going into this. Like, it was just one of the most enjoyable times of my life. Like, it was like I was working, probably 70, 80 hours a week. I was like a proof to myself. Oh man. Because this is what I feel like e-commerce is all about. This is what it's about. It's about building something that matters to people. It's not about making money. Like, yeah, you're gonna make money, but like the fulfilling part is building something that impacts other people, man. Always going to be feeling this pressure to be complacent and feeling this pressure to be better. So if you're not currently happy with your own reality, then you more than likely won't be happy when you have more money. It was, man, don't want to get emotional again. It's like, yeah, 373K a month. Wow, this dude's like really successful. I don't feel like I am. If you're not focused on growth and you're more focused on those destination points in your life, you're gonna get there and just stop. Then you stop and then you backtrack. It's because you make 5,000, 10,000, 15,000, 20,000, 50,000 a month. You're not going to be happy when you make 200,000 a month. I've had to come to that realization is that it's more about who you become in order to achieve the goals you have, rather than helping the business become what it needs to be. And there's that constant battle in your head about who you once were and who you're trying to become. You're going to go back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. And I know you have that mental battle every day because I have that same battle. Just because I can say that I make 373K a month, it doesn't make me any better than you. Welcome to my raw journey video from a fat broke entrepreneur to $373,000 a month with e-commerce. I'm grateful to have you here. I want you to consider me and you a friend. We're just going to sit down here and have a conversation just like we were friends, and have a one-on-one conversation like you're on FaceTime with a buddy. And my whole intent is to be genuine and authentic and to really talk to you guys a little bit about how I got here, because a lot of the times you may see a lot of people who talk about their success, especially in e-commerce, and you may think, well, if they're making this much a month, then what does their life actually look like? Like, who are they as a person? How do I need to develop myself? What do I need to learn? What skills do I need to develop? Who do I need to become in order to make that kind of money? And I'm going to share all that with you. If you're an existing e-commerce owner and you've been struggling, or you're trying to scale, trying to figure things out, then this video is for you. And I have 3 main goals for this video. 3. The first one is show you the path I took to get to 373K a month. The second is sharing the biggest lessons that I learned in each year of being an entrepreneur, from starting my e-commerce business, in retrospect, looking back. And thirdly, and most importantly, how you can actually make your dreams a reality and believe in yourself to actually do it. And that part there is what I really want you guys to take away from this video. The whole reason I'm making this is so that I can speak to the entrepreneur that I once was when I started out in e-commerce, to help you truly understand like what it takes to get here. Because in the day and the world we live in today, it's filled with so much BS about how to actually be successful. And I'm going to hopefully give you some insight into what that actually looks like. Okay. So if you are currently struggling to get sales in your business, you're struggling to have a strategy, you don't know how to get there, you're spinning your wheels, you feel lost, you're losing money on ads, you're not profitable on ads, whatever the problems that you're having in your business right now are, this video is going to give you the solution to all those problems. It's going to give you the true problem in your business. I'm going to talk about that in this video, okay? And so if you want to create a successful e-commerce company, doing over $1 million a year or more, then this is going to kind of lay out the roadmap for you and give you some clarity as to what those things actually are. So my mission is to really help give people a lot of insight into how to generate more sales for the e-commerce business. And it's always my mission to show people what their true potential is, because I feel personally that I need to live up to my true potential. And it's just always been something in my heart where I felt drawn to. And although I may struggle, I'm not a perfect person, I'm always working towards that goal of reaching my potential. And I want you to reach your potential too, because ultimately that's we feel the most fulfilled and the happiest that we can be. So that's kind of a little bit about what I'm here to do, and what I want to do is really inspire you to reach your dreams. So let's take a look here at where I was before, okay? I used to be 280 pounds. 280. I was miserable, I was unhappy, and the only thing that I focused on in my life was my business. I neglected my health, my fitness, my family, my relationships, my hobbies, the things that I enjoyed. I cut it out because I thought that focusing on my business was going to get me further. And it didn't. I was unhappy, I was unfulfilled, I was constantly self-conscious, I was always self-critical, and I struggled to smile and to feel good every day because I knew that I wasn't focusing on certain aspects of my life that I should have been. And so the person that I was back here is not the same person that I am today. And that is the first secret that we're going to get into in this video more, is the person that you currently are is currently not capable of achieving the success in your business that you want to achieve. All right? This person right here was not capable of achieving the success that I have now. But this person over here on the right, this person is. Okay? This person is happy. This person is fulfilled. Now, don't get me wrong. Am I happy all the time? No. Am I fulfilled all the time? No. Life is hard. And that's just a fact. But life is so much more enjoyable being at this stage and becoming this kind of person. Okay? My wife and I are able to spend more time together, take trips, take vacations, not worry about money, not be stressed about it, not feel like we have to be in survival mode, not feel like we have to worry about where money's coming from and pay the bills. We don't have to have the normal stresses that once affected us all those years ago. And this can be you too. Now, wherever you may be on your journey, whether you're on the left or you're close to the right, it doesn't really matter. The point is that you can change and become the kind of person that makes the kind of money you want to make, has the business that you want, has the life you want, has the body you want, has everything that you want. You are capable of doing that. And so I hope to give you insight and break this down in this video, while also showing you what it actually took to build a successful e-commerce company. Now, with that said, let's kind of move right into the swing of things. Now, I've got something at the end that I want to talk to you about as well, so make sure you stick around for that. So let's go back all the way to 2015, okay? So as you can see, here's a few little snapshots from 2015, around that time where we were starting our business. Now at the time, the top left, this was when we were ideating our process of what we were even going to do for our business, okay? So it all started with an idea, something that we were going to work towards and achieve. At that time, I had no business knowledge. I had no e-commerce experience. I didn't know what I was doing. I had no idea how to select a product. I didn't know anything about anything to do with business, okay? So at this point, in this stage, right, if we zoom in here, is I had very little capital. We had about $1,000. And I had 5 failed products and 1 product that kind of worked, but then didn't. We had 1 product that started really working. We started in the basement of our parents' house, and we started selling on third-party platforms like eBay. We did our very first $1,000 month, which was really, really cool. But during the year of 2015, there wasn't really much that we knew, right? There were 5 failed products. I'm not going to go into super detail about those specific stories. If you want to learn a little bit more about my story, go and watch this video. I'll link it here about my story, linked in the description. About my story getting to this point goes in a bit more detail. But I'm also getting used to this iPad, so forgive me if I accidentally draw on here unintentionally. The identity that I had at this point in my life is I was broke, but I wanted to start a business. I was about to go off to college to study orthodontics. I had very little business knowledge. I didn't know much about e-com, but I had an interest in it. I believed in myself, but still doubted if I could actually do it, right? Like you may be in a stage where you have this idea, but you tell your friends and family about it, and then like all of a sudden they're like, oh dude, just get a real job, be realistic, don't pursue that. You can't do this, or let's make sure you can make an income and support yourself, right? Like all those negative talk, and you convince yourself like, oh, maybe they're right, so maybe I shouldn't try and do this business. So then it's like this flip-flop you experience as an early entrepreneur, is like, how do I actually go ahead and create the business I want when everyone around me is like telling me that it's a bad idea? Because you're not yet confident or have the experience and the track record of being successful as a business owner, right? It's risky. So this is kind of the stage and identity that I was in. And so I want to talk about some of the lessons that I learned here. But before we do that, I want to kind of bring attention to the starting piece a bit more, because I think it's very important. And I keep writing on my screen, my bad guys, is, as you can see, the business that we ended up landing on was a custom controller business, where we sold custom PlayStation and Xbox controllers. We'll get more into that here as we progress. But in the beginning, we sold products that we thought would do well, but we ended up losing all of our money on, right? We ordered like 4 different products. We tried another 5th product that worked for a little bit, but then it failed. And this was the product that we landed on. And this product is what we still sell today, and has been largely a result of the success. So you can see here some pictures in the basement. We had like boxes and everything everywhere. We had all this shelving set up with controllers that we were building. And basically what we did in the beginning is we took some broken controllers that we had around the house, we fixed them up and resold them on third-party marketplaces. And we resold them, and we kind of just took the money we made and reinvested it back into buying broken controllers. We kept doing the same thing until we could have some inventory and we can order more, right? So that's what we did in the beginning. We just reinvest the profits. We didn't take a paycheck. So really the lessons that we learned early on in our journey, and something that you should understand early on if you're kind of in those beginning stages, is it doesn't always work the first time. When you start doing something, whether that's a new product or whether that's something in your business, whether it's like Facebook advertising or TikTok ads, or you start doing PPC ads on Amazon, like it doesn't always work the first time. And you have to expect things not to work the first time and have backup plans, or hire in experts to be able to help you implement these things into your business. Now, if you don't have the money for that, then obviously it's time to learn and prepare to make mistakes, because that's how we develop and grow as a person. The second thing is you have to be ready and expect to fail. Failure only happens when you give up. You never fail if you never give up. So if you continuously push towards your goals, you're eventually going to get there. But you have to not put a time frame around when you get there. As long as you don't do that, you'll always be successful. You'll basically have inevitable success. The third lesson in this stage of the business, when you're getting started out, getting from $0 to $1,000 a month, is taking action gave us feedback on next moves. Now, this is one of the biggest lessons that I've personally learned, is that we plan, we think, and we try and figure out before actually we take action on what we need to do next. But until we take action and get feedback from doing that, we gain clarity on what those next steps are. We don't have to look 10 steps ahead. We just have to know the next step in front of us. And as long as we know that next step in front of us, we can always take action. And so throughout my journey so far, like this has still been something that comes up regularly for me, where I get overwhelmed because I'm thinking like 3 steps ahead or 5 steps ahead, instead of like, I know what the next one is. So let's just step there first, and then we'll figure out what that second step is. So this is an important thing, is actions give us feedback, and feedback helps us progress. Feedback gives us clarity. So that's an important part. The fourth part here is protect your dream. So many people are going to tell you that it's not going to work, and they will not support you until you are successful. Until you're on the other side and you've made it, will they then tell you, always knew you could do it, always knew you could figure it out. And they will start having respect for you that you don't have right now, because all they see is you not spending time with family. They see you grinding. They see you working on weekends. They see you not being social, not going out to activities, not doing the normal things that an average person of society would do. And so you have to protect that dream. You have to keep that dream alive. And the best way that I've found to do this is surround yourself with people who are building similar things to you. Surround yourself with other existing e-commerce owners who are building businesses together, because the truth is that we all individually feel very alone in building businesses. But there are so many people out there that we could find and come together. And if we just had some conversations around the things that we're struggling with, the things in our mind, the things that we're going through, we'd realize that we're not so crazy, you know? And there were many times in my journey that I felt really crazy. You know, there's so many moments where I wish that if I had just been able to have a conversation with someone who was going through a similar thing in their business, that I'd be like, okay, like we can figure this out, we can keep going. So protecting your dream is very important, and you'll have so many people trying to tear you down and impact you in a way where you will give up on your dream, you'll throw your dream in the trash, and you'll just settle for an average life. And sometimes that can even feel like it's something that you want. You will have moments where you want to give up. You will have moments where you're like, is this even worth it? Can I really do this? Am I capable? And you're going to have this self-talk where you're going to actually consider giving up on your dream. I've had those moments. I've actually made a decision to give up on my dream in the past, and it hurt me so badly. It hurt my self-confidence, my self-esteem, the way I thought about myself, the effect that it had on my ability to perform and achieve had definitely a, what's the word I'm looking for? Lashback effect. I think that's the right term. But it had an effect on me where I made the decision and then I regretted it, that I had given up, because the only path through being successful is working through those hard things that we encounter. The hard things that we encounter don't mean that we should give up. It doesn't mean it's not the path for us. It means we need to move through it and figure it out and become more, develop, learn the skill, overcome the problem, find the solution, right? Now, the last thing is expect it to take longer, work harder, and take more effort than you think. So right now, with your goals and your business, if you are feeling like things are taking too long to get results, if you're feeling like there's always something that comes up that impacts your profit, if there's some sort of problem that happens with your products, your shipping, your business, your employees, whatever it may be, these things take time. And the best thing that I've tried to do in my journey as an entrepreneur, e-commerce entrepreneur, is reset expectations. As high achievers, as high performers, who I'd assume you are too, you aspire to achieve big things and you have big dreams and ambitions, is the expectation we have of ourselves is often we're too critical and we're too harsh on ourselves. When we don't do something, we beat ourselves up, and that affects our ability to work through it. That affects our ability to be positive, to be in a position where we can be confident, because we've got to lead a team, right? We've got to lead people. We've got to be in a position where we feel good every day. We feel we can do what needs to be done as a leader, right? And so when your expectations change from this needs to happen in 30 days to this needs to happen at some point, then you can work towards it without having a time tied to the expectation or the result. Now, it's great to set goals, it's great to have things that you're working towards, but as soon as you assign a time to something, that's when you create more stress. It's when you create more pressure that affects your ability to think clearly, to be creative, to be the visionary entrepreneur that you know you are. So when you expect and change those expectations, you know you need to work harder. It's going to require more effort. You're going to have problems. You can expect it to take longer. Then all of a sudden, because your expectations are low, what happens when you exceed your expectations? Well, it just fuels you up with more energy, more motivation, because you achieved it faster than you set the expectations. So this is a huge lesson that has highly impacted every stage that I've gone through in my career, and is a foundational piece here. These 5 things are foundational to helping you set yourself up so that you don't just quit when things get hard, right? And you set the correct expectations. Most marketing is done by telling you that you can make $10,000 in a month in 30 days by working 4 hours a week. It's completely BS. It's completely skewed because the person who's saying that, they already have the skills, the knowledge, the team, the resources, the money to do it, but you don't, right? You may not have those things yet. So how the hell are you meant to become this person in even shorter time frame to then make your business $10,000 in 30 days or $50,000 in 3 months, right? So again, we're going to talk about this as we go through this, but understanding that the person that you are right now is currently not capable of achieving the goal that you have for your business, okay? In order to go from $25,000 a month in your e-commerce business to making $100,000 a month in your business, you have to become a different person, okay? So let's do this real quick. So you right now, okay? This is you. You're making $25K a month in your business, okay? In order for you to go and make $100K a month, right? You need to become a different person. You need to level up in your ability to perform, okay? You need to become this version of yourself. Because if this version of yourself right here only works sometimes, doesn't have a ability to be productive day to day, constantly running around doing tasks around the warehouse or in the business that other employees could do, or you're not focused on the high leverage key activities to move the business forward, then what ends up happening is you cap yourself at your ability to perform and reach 100K a month. Maybe you don't know how to hire the right people. Maybe you don't know the method or the sales channel that's going to get you 100K a month. Maybe you don't have the strategy that you need to get there. Well, then you need to be able to figure out how to find the right person to do that. So you can leverage people to get you to this goal, right? You can leverage other people to get you here. But in order for you to manage correctly and to be the kind of person that has a 100K a month business, you need to change. And this is a key part when I reflect back and I look at all the stuff that we've built. When you truly understand this principle, it changes everything. It changes the whole way that you view yourself, your business, and the success that you're wanting to create. All right, so let's move on to the next year of lessons, okay? We're going to probably move through this a little bit faster. Okay, so in 2016, we started making some moves in the business to help us to grow. And one of those things was moving into a commercial space. There's a 900 square foot commercial space. You can see a few pictures here. And another important life event happened for me is I got engaged to my beautiful wife that I am still with today. And you can see that in 2016, we reinvested everything into the business. We hit our first 10K month. We didn't take any pay from the business during that time. We started getting some serious momentum on eBay and Etsy. And we also started on another product that we lost money on. So in 2016, the business had grown to a point where we could start making some moves with investing into commercial space. We were outgrowing our space that we had, and we needed a more space so that we could grow the business further. Now, at the time, the identity that I had during this time was I was still broke. I was working a part and full-time jobs just to live. I learned more of the technical skills to improve the product that we were selling. I developed confidence and belief in myself that we could actually continue to grow and we could continue to do this. I started learning by taking action more, and I've begun to see the vision come to life of what could be. So as we made progress in our business, things started to get a lot more clear. We started to have that confidence that, that feeling like when something just starts working really, really well and you just have this like incredible focus and clarity and you're just really motivated to get up and work every day. This was kind of that stage for us because we were growing quickly. And I want to, really point out one important thing here is when you're building an e-commerce company, the few things that truly, truly matter on a foundational level is one, your product serves a need in the market or provides a solution, and two, you have a brand. And the brand is basically the experience and the way that you make people think and feel about you when they encounter anything to do with your business. So whether it's buying a product and unboxing it, social media content, customer service, your visuals, photos, lifestyle stuff, that is all something that affects your customers' emotions and the words you have on your website and how they feel towards you and how compelled and connected they feel towards being a part of your community and a part of your world as a brand. So, what were the lessons that we learned during this stage that helped me go from a fat broke entrepreneur to 373K a month? In this stage, we were going in year 2 from 1,000 to 10,000 a month. Okay, and these are the key lessons. Now, I want to note here too, these lessons are lessons that were learned at each stage as I reflect back, but also lessons that I hold valuable now as someone who's making 373K a month. Okay. The first lesson is don't get distracted, double down on what is working. So this stage of the business, we decided to start a new product. And this product, without going into a ton of detail about the story, this product lost us a lot of money. We were unable to sell the product and we were stuck with the inventory that we had, and it just all kind of really like held us back in being able to grow a bit faster. So when you're starting an e-commerce company, don't try and go horizontal with your products. You want to go vertically, right? You want to scale one really good product vertically first, get that to a point where you can then start investing in other products. And so at this point, you want to focus on the one product, the one main thing that you sell. It just makes things a lot easier. You don't have to dilute your marketing and your messaging and the work that you put into that one product. And you really want it to solve a particular need for a particular market segment, okay? The next thing is spend more time on learning about your customers, what they like and why they like it. So when you're in an e-commerce company and you're trying to figure out what to do and who to target and who to reach, if you tell me that you are trying to reach everyone, you have a terrible business. You have a terrible marketing strategy, and you will end up dead like the rest of the other businesses that are currently out of business. So you have to identify who you're actually trying to reach and who that customer is, because you need to hone in your branding, your messaging, the way that you draw them to you. You have to have a specific person in mind that you're trying to connect with. If you don't have that, then you're going to really struggle. So learning more about your customers, getting feedback, interviewing them, sitting down with them, asking them questions. These are ways that you can garner more information about your customers so that you can incorporate that into the way that you market yourself and the way that you present yourself as a brand. So, going out of your way to interview family members or friends, or find people that you know that have your product or who are willing to have a phone conversation. These are the ways you can gain a lot of insight into finding about their goals, their desires, their fears, their worries, the problem that your product solves, what more they want from your product, so you can further develop that into your brand, into your existing product. So learning about this earlier on can help future growth of the business, because you know what people actually need, so then scale and grow that in that direction instead of wasting money on things that may not be something that people want. The third thing is focus on making your product more appealing and desirable. So branding is a really key part, and it's often a much misunderstood term that is used to represent so many different things for an e-commerce company specifically. To me, there are so many different facets of what a brand entails, but the way that your product appears and the desire that it creates often comes down to the psychology of how you make your customers think and feel towards your brand. These are influenced by imagery, videos, words that convey feelings and thoughts in the customer's mind about either your higher values, your mission, your vision, your core values, or even emotions of based around the outcomes and desires that your customer have and what that product actually solves for them. The more you can get people connected to your higher mission and vision for your company, the more likely that people are going to gravitate, and you're going to create kind of this magnetic energy to attract the right people to you. And over time, as you make content on social media, this is going to continue to grow and expand and create true raving fans that will spread word about your business and your brand. And this is how we did it with our company that we'll go into a bit more detail about here soon. But really think about how you can make your products more appealing and desirable in this stage. This includes, design, wording, vision, mission. If you don't have those things in place, then you're definitely going to be holding your company back from growing and getting to a point where you can really scale it. The fourth thing is very straightforward. Keep going. I can't tell you how many times on my journey that I thought about quitting. I can't tell you how many times I thought about quitting and kept going, and right around the corner was a big breakthrough. I think that the lesson in life is we have to just endure. We have to keep going. We have to never give up. And we have to find ways that we can just get ourselves to continue taking those steps forward. Because we don't fail unless we stop. We only fail when we stop. So if we keep going, we can't fail. So remember that. And if that comes down to taking it day by day, then do that. You got to do what works for you. And this is very, very important. So just keep going. If you're in this early stages in your business and you're trying to figure out what to do and where to go, sometimes just keep going, keep moving in the right direction, even if you're not being as productive or you're not working as many hours you want to because you're struggling to have that desire and motivation to grow your business. Just keep maintaining and doing what you can every day. Don't stop doing anything. Like focus on if you're in a position where you don't know how to keep going, just identify the key things that are the highest leverage things in your business and make sure that your team and the people that you work with are still doing what needs to be done to grow and to fulfill orders and to maintain the business. Then do that for a time. Don't do that forever, but do that for a time. Focus on the high leverage things, assign those things to yourself, and make sure you get them done every day. And then have more free time to think, and reflect on what you need to change. And oftentimes these moments come down to what we've been talking about. The theme of this video is we have to improve ourselves in order to reach higher levels of success in business. And it's a concept that it took me years to understand, but you have to understand that the focus on you and developing you as a person is more or less more important than focusing on growing your business at certain stages. And there's going to be focus points where there's something that you need to do personally, whether it's your habits or your routine or your discipline that needs to level up and not your business. And your business could be doing better than you, but you need to level up as a person in order to push the business higher. And so there's going to be moments where it's going to flip-flop between those two things. But there's going to be one thing that will be held back. So that's something to keep in mind. So that is some of the lessons in 2016. Now, as we move on to 2017, this is where things kind of start getting a little crazy for us. So here's a few more. We started getting into making some content with our controllers. We were renamed, we rebranded the whole company, which we'll talk about later, but originally it was called OC Gaming. As you can see, a few more your shots of like our office area, our shipping area, an assembly area, and I also got married and went on a honeymoon the next year. So I also had the opportunity to do that with my wife. And this was kind of a few snapshots of 2017. So let's talk about what happened in 2017. I have a lot more photos too to share in previous years, because during this stage of the business, we weren't really focused on like documenting or photographing or videoing certain parts of the business. So as we go forward, you'll see even more stuff. So in 2017, we moved into a 900 square foot commercial space. I did mention that happened in 2016. My apologies. It started happening, I think, towards the end of 2016, and then the full year of 2017. We hit our first 100K month. So $100,000 a month. Went from 10 to $100,000 a month, which was crazy. At the time, we still were not taking any paychecks. We're still not paying ourselves, okay? So remember this is 3 years in. We're currently reinvesting all the money into the business and buying more inventory, growing the business, hiring people to assemble controllers and ship controllers. And we're not taking paychecks. We were focused on growth by hiring employees, and we started buying new controllers. So from the difference between the early days, we were buying like used controllers and fixing them up. Here we were buying new controllers. So we're buying broken, then used, and now new, because the prices on them were affordable at the time when they were broken. But then as we grew the business, like we just thought, well, we don't have to fix them and repair them like internally. We can just buy new ones and then customize them and raise our prices. So that's what we did. So in 2017, this is what the business looked like, okay? Now in stage 2 of my identity, or not stage 2, but the second part of this is I was still broke. I started to feel like I was a business owner. The entrepreneur started to become a part of my identity. I started to really feel like I was a real entrepreneur, and was still living paycheck to paycheck, still working other jobs. So during this time, like we were trying to keep the business fed with the amount of money that was in the business, but we were still doing other things to provide income and to save on our expenses. So this was a stage in the business where we were just aggressively growing. And some of the key lessons here that we learned in this stage of the business, right, in order to get us, get me towards the 373K a month in our business, and go from where I was to the end result where I am today, is in this stage we had to hire key roles to help at this point to sustain the business that you can have time to grow it. So in this stage between 10 to 100K a month, you have to be willing to hand off tasks that you do to other people. If you're the type of person that is constantly stuck in the day-to-day operations, doing the things that your employees should be doing, then it's going to be very difficult, almost impossible for you to grow to this level, okay? Now, it is possible, but it's going to be very hard. And if you want to build a healthy, long-term, sustainable business, this is something that you should be thinking about. So, need to start hiring people, and you want to kind of make sure that you hire key roles that are going to help move the needle the most. So you need to sit down, identify what it is that you need to do at each stage of the business, and evaluate who is the key hire that we need for the next step. The other lesson in this stage was we need to start heavily advertising your business and products, or leaning into organic content. So this is really where you start exponentially growing your business, where you start investing time into building your online presence. This is a very key part of your business trajectory, and you'll come to see later on how this impacts your future trajectory here in a few moments. But you have to start focusing on advertising and spending money on your ads, and also on organic content for your social media. So creating content, business content about, or content about your business that can be relatable to your customers. Very important that you're able to do that, because this way you're able to connect and relate to the people that you're trying to attract and sell to. And your organic and your paid ads work together in order to create this perfect synergy of very high profitable ROAS ads, which we'll also talk about. In this stage, you must have a good, strong brand image or identity that makes people feel emotions about your brand. So again, focusing on this brand image, very important. Don't neglect it. It isn't the last thing on the list that you should be doing. It should be one of the first things on the list because your image is everything and your first impressions matter. So you want people to be able to invoke an emotion when they engage with your brand, right? You need a way to separate yourself from the competition. And besides just the product, it's also your brand and how you make people feel. So this is a very important investment to make in this stage of the business. So those are lessons between 10 to 100K a month, very important lessons. And this stage of the business was really where things start to go a little crazy, but then we kind of go for a roller coaster here. So you'll start to see what happens. So 2018 and 2019, these 2 years were filled with a lot of crazy things. So we continued to live in the space that we had. We were getting in different controllers. We were planning a lot of things. We had more space to store products and inventory. And we started to basically focus on creating content a bit more and creating social media content. We started to post helpful videos around topics related to our products. We started leaning into more educational content. And this was something that we did early on in this stage of the business. So where we were in 2018 and 2019 with the business was, this was the first year that we hit our first $1 million in revenue year. We started paying ourselves around 2 to 3K a month. We started working less, about 4 to 6 hours a day, and started other businesses. We hired on another employee to build controllers. We expanded our color options. We sourced products cheaper, and we had clear. It was clear that more competition was rising on our third-party platforms, primarily through Amazon. So this is kind of where the business was at for these few years, hitting our first $1 million revenue year, which was big. And, we started paying ourselves then, and we started working less because we hired people in place to fulfill orders. And that was the business side of things. Now, identity-wise, at this point, felt a little untouchable. That making $1 million a year was easy to achieve, right? It felt like it just happened too easy that year. We just kept doing what was working, and it just worked out. We thought we could sit back and enjoy the lifestyle and had the mindset of like, we made it, right? We're here. We're finally here. And we didn't focus on anything other than the business. So at this time, like, my big focus was just on working in the business, and it wasn't about other areas of my life. And so this really came to take a toll on me when I started neglecting important things in my life that I should have been focusing on a bit more. So the lessons that we learned from going from 100 to $1 million a year, okay? So this is not 100 to $1 million a month, this is 100 to $1 million a year. Looking back in hindsight, we should have been increasing advertising spend to scale, which we were, but increasing your advertising spend to scale during this period, like if you're doing 6 figures a year and you're looking to get to 7, advertising spend is a very important part of that. Don't start other businesses just because one is doing well, especially if it relies on you heavily. So again, this is a very important lesson in hindsight. Like, don't spread yourself too thin, your business. Don't feel like you need to start new things. You'll often find as an owner of a business that you're going to want to take on new opportunities because you now have more resources in order to do that. And you have to learn to say no to things by just focusing on the main thing that you're doing. Because if you say yes to other things, then now you can't put as much focus on this business. And as we all know, our efforts are a lagging effect of our results. So if you make this decision to work less in your business, it's not going to affect your business probably 3, 6, 12 months down the line. And you're not going to realize, and it's going to hit you and you'll be like, why did this happen? Well, it's the delayed effect of our actions, right? This is an important observation to make during this time. So make sure that you focus on your main thing. It'll get you to your goals faster and you'll make way more money because of it. Continue leaning into your product that is generating the most revenue and profit. So again, focusing on the main products. If you notice that talking through all of this is putting your focus in the right places is very, very important, both in your business and in the things that you do. in 1 second here. And the last thing that I wanted to touch on is don't get complacent, okay? It's very easy to get complacent when you're doing well, and your motivations and desires and goals will change over time. And so you always need to make sure you have something that you're working towards that motivates you, or some sort of future goal that you have that drives you to continue pushing forward. And to be quite honest, I'm going through one of these stages in my own life right now where for so long, like all of 2023, I've been working so hard and so much that I've kind of gotten to a point where I can't give any more of my time to the things that I'm doing. And so I've had to make some very hard decisions about cutting back either businesses or time inputs into different aspects of things and really reevaluate, what do I need to do to get to the next level? Where do I need to put my focus? Because you only have so much time in a day. And so it can also be easy once you are achieving a certain goal. Like for example, even this month, for me is like, I've even felt myself getting complacent because I worked so hard for so long last year in all the things that we're doing. And all of a sudden I'm here this month and I'm like, I don't technically have to do much to maintain what I have. But again, I know that the lagging effect of things will come into play later on this year if I don't keep implementing and doing things now, because nothing ever stays the same. It either goes up or it goes down. And your trajectory will never just kind of sit in the middle. And so really trying to be aware of that and to notice what you need to do to focus on your growth as a person and your growth in the business is important. I would also venture to add in here on this lesson is, if you don't actively take time to sit down on a daily basis or even a weekly basis and think about your business and what needs to be done, changed, things are going well, what's not going well, and take active time to think about what needs to be done and observe what is being done, you won't be able to identify either holes in your business or things that you could be doing better, more efficiently, or more cost effectively, or even just the general direction of your marketing efforts or your product or your business. If you don't take that time, you could get so far down the road where you realize, you look back and like, this isn't where I wanted to go. So you have to take that time to think and reflect and make changes and adjustments, and make sure that you're dedicating time to that as an owner of business, because if you don't, it can often get very far off track from where you even wanted it to be. And you're like, how did we even end up here? So that is another important lesson here at this stage as you kind of grow and continue to scale. So 2018, 2019, we did over $1 million in revenue both years. And so now it brings us to 2020, the crazy year of the disease that must not be named. So this year was a very, very big year for us. We did a lot of things in the business that allowed us to grow and to move into a completely different stage of the business, where it got really scary, but also we started to make the changes that we knew we needed to make. And one of those changes being that we needed more space to grow the business. So we looked at this building. If you can see here on the right, we went and toured this building that was actually out the back here. It actually had a bunch of gas, propane. It was like a company that would basically go and fill up people's oil tanks in the winter. And this building here was the building that we were looking at potentially getting into, that would give us a bit of a flex space. We had some warehouse and some office space, and also we could enhance a bit of our content. So this is the place that went and toured. And on the inside, you can see here, it looked way worse when we actually were there, because this is all cleared out and cleaned. But this is meant to be all white, but it's pretty much yellow. But yeah, it's a very, very dirty warehouse. Definitely wasn't a typical warehouse. And then the flex space that we had, we had this room here that would actually become our content studio, where we would film all of our content and TikToks and whatnot, which we'll talk about here soon. So, these are just a couple of before pictures, and this year was huge for us because we basically transformed and renovated the entire space. We set an initiative to make some changes for the business to really set the course for where we were going and what we were going to do. And this was a little bit of our content studio when we were setting it up. I'm going to give you guys a bit of context here in just a second. But this would change everything for us. But there was one thing that would happen that would really set things in a direction where we never thought it would go. So, where was the business at this point? Okay. In 2020, our last big year before things really started to take a turn, we did 1.6 million in revenue, generated 95% from Amazon FBA. So at this point in the business, we were noticing that competition was rising, and we were noticing that we had to continue moving our prices down, which we were making less profit, and more competition was coming to the space. Now, we'd been there for a long time, so we had a little bit of an advantage. But during this time, we had to pivot the business fast, and we began planning and discussing very heavily. And part of this plan was getting this new building. That was a big part of it. But we went from having basically no brand and no real substance to who we were as a brand. We were just another brand on Amazon selling in PlayStation and Xbox controller boxes. It wasn't like we had no branding, we had nothing that would represent who we were as a company. And so people were just thought they were buying from PlayStation or Sony or Microsoft. So I noticed this because of some of my other experience in other businesses that I had, that we really needed to make a change and move to creating a real brand, right? One that people could remember, one that people could recognize. And also part of this point here was also owning our own customers, which is one of the main problems with any other e-commerce business, with Amazon FBA, retail arbitrage, eBay, all that stuff. You don't own your customers. That means you can't email your Amazon FBA customers. You don't have their information, and Amazon doesn't allow you to have it, right? They even say you shouldn't put inserts in your packaging to promote your brand, right? So there's all sorts of unique ways and different ways that you can promote your business with Amazon, but we had to pivot. We had to make a big shift because we knew at some point we may be taken over on Amazon, and we didn't want all of our eggs to be in one basket. So this started the inception of our new business and brand. We moved into a 4,500 square foot facility, and we renovated it heavily, okay? Now, in terms of the identity I had at this time, I was really confident after the wins we'd had, and through the other businesses, in other business endeavors that I had, we could build something extraordinary. Like, I truly believed in what we were about to build because I had a passion and a desire to be in that business. Now, I've always been a bit of a gamer ever since I was young. A lot of people are. A lot of people have that experience. So the fact that we were able to channel the thing that we loved and enjoyed into a business, it was definitely a big motivating factor. So I think that when you're passionate about products and businesses that you have a personal interest in, it does help. You just have to keep in mind that when you turn those into businesses, that passion can fade because it now becomes like an obligation rather than something that you can choose to do as a hobby or in your free time when you feel like it. So I believe we could create something unique to differentiate ourselves, and I was committed to doing whatever it takes to make this successful. That was the mentality I had, and that mentality plays a very important role in the upcoming years where some crazy stuff happened. So what were the lessons we learned going from 1 to 1.6 million a year? It's easy to scale a product and sales channel that's already working well. You just add more fuel to the fire. So at the time, Amazon was generating us so much revenue that we were like, okay, well, let's just increase our PPC ads. Let's just start advertising more. Let's start putting more options on the market. And that's what we did. And we started generating more income from that. The other aspect of this during this time, another caveat, was that during the year of 2020, a lot of people were at home. And so a lot of people were looking for things to do. And so a lot of people were buying, or gaming, and they were going and buying controllers. So that was also an influence in some aspect. And it was very, very difficult for us to acquire inventory during that year because of everything being shut down. So this year was really tough. There was a lot going on, but we were able to grow even amongst the difficult year that we had. We were grinding, like we were working every single day, going into the office, making things happen, and it was a crazy year, but a really good year. The second lesson was you must stay ahead of your competition. Find ways to be better and create a brand that people feel something about. So the one thing you have to keep in mind is that when you're creating a business, you have to stay ahead of your competition. You have to stay in the know of what they're doing. Because if you don't, you can oftentimes be taken over because everything's always going to evolve. And what we found, as we'll talk about here in a minute, is that people started copying us as well. So people were imitating us because of the things that we were doing. And so that's natural way of how the market evolves, is as soon as someone raised the standard, then everyone tries to raise the standard and it keeps pushing everyone to the top because everyone wants to be the best and they want to generate the most sales and be the focus for their customers. So focus is key here. Don't get distracted because there will be tons of opportunities for you. Again, the more money you make, the more opportunities you're going to have. And I highly advise, based on my personal experience, you have to learn to say no. And I still struggle with this decision because there are so many good opportunities that come my way where I'm like, oh yeah, I want to take a percentage of the equity of that e-commerce company, or I want to, start building this or building that. Like, it's fun to build things. That's why we do what we do, is we ultimately enjoy as entrepreneurs building things. So this is an important thing to notice is just don't get distracted here. Focus. Keep focusing on what you're doing. So 2020 was a crazy year, and we started taking more pictures. Like this picture up here on the left was me when we were taking pictures of some controllers for our Amazon listings to just improve the quality and whatnot. But 2021 was a very interesting year, and it literally changed our business entirely. So during this year of 2021, we were evolving as a company into a new brand that I conceptualized and built to really help enhance where we were going. I knew we needed to have a clear identity. We needed to have something that would be impactful, something that would mean something, and had many conversations with the other co-founders of the company about how we were actually going to do this. And one of the big things was we were going to really put an emphasis on content. That was one of our big angles of competitive advantage in the business. And so we got our brand put on here again. We painted the inside of the place, like we made it feel and look like our brand. We had a content studio here. We had everything set up. We had our warehouse. You can see here with all of our products. We basically had everything that we would need in order to, take it to the next level. And this, a lot of time, a lot of resource, a lot of money to get to this point, right? We're investing heavily in this new brand identity. We go from OC Gaming to a company called Gainetics. And during this time in 2021, we had something very terrible happen while we were in the process of rebranding. We had 60 to 70% of our revenue disappear overnight. We were very close to launching our new brand and business model. We basically kind of had this new way of how we were going to do business going forward. And we were losing a lot of money month to month because of the 60 to 70% drop in revenue that we experienced. We're investing heavily in our new brand and business, and we're extremely focused on the new business model and creating the content to grow. And so what happened during 2021 was a very scary moment because we could have lost everything. At this time, like we were doing, I don't know, where it was somewhere around 100K a month, 120K a month. 60 to 70% of that is, what is that? Like, losing 70,000 or whatever the number is on revenue. We had overhead. We had hired more employees to help us with this new brand. We'd hired videographer. And I kind of stepped into the position as more of the CMO, to help kind of strategically run content marketing. And then, obviously there's operational overlap too with like running the business and building this stuff. But there was just so much of our revenue that disappeared that we were in the negative very, very heavily. So we were relying on the profit from previous years to carry us through to launching this new brand. That was our whole plan. And so it was around June and July of 2021, we lost about that amount of revenue. So halfway through the year, and we were busy doing this. We were busy, getting our brand integrated into everything we were doing. We had a warehouse, we had the brand, we had, our packaging that was being developed, right? This was the packaging project that I had. I was developing the packaging. I was trying to create the most premium unboxing experience that I could possibly think of to give people that wow factor. When they open the product, they could have that experience, because we noticed that in our market, a lot of people weren't focused on that. We ideated like how we were going to build this custom controller builder. We were going to put all of our energy and time into building this controller builder that would beat out every other controller builder currently on the internet. And we did that. But this took time. This took a lot of time. This is me designing the brand book, right? We had a core brand in place with a brand voice and assets that we used. And then this was me and my brother here. We built the business together, and it's been a journey getting here. This is just, bringing back so many memories for me. It's a shipment with me and Tanner. Like, Tanner was my creative director, and we were bringing in a big whole shipping container of packaging, the new packaging that we got in. I think we ordered like 6,000 boxes or something from our supplier, and we were bringing that in one cold morning, that's for sure. So there were so many things happening in 2021 that were really exciting, but at the back of it all was our bottom line. And that needed to change quick, because if things didn't change quick, then we were headed for financial disaster if things didn't turn around quickly, okay? So in this stage, my identity, like where my identity lay in this point in the business, was I knew that we were onto something big. There was a real dream and vision for the new business, and we were going to make it happen. Like, there was no question that we were committed to this. We were already too deep, and we needed to make a change. Now, in retrospect, we should have done this from day one, right? Like, yeah, we may not have been able to invest the amount of money, but we should have focused on more of the brand in the beginning, and owning our own customers and building the things in place to set ourselves up for a foundation that could take us to a successful company quicker, with a bit more stability and a bit more consistent growth, and not have all of our eggs in one basket. At this point, successful entrepreneur was the way I felt during this time, despite the loss we had in the middle of 2021. This was the most enjoyable time of my life. It was about building something great. And I get really emotional when I think about this, because I was literally writing this up for you guys, and I was just like thinking back to this time in my life where like there was just so much going into this. Like, it's so hard to convey the amount of effort and the amount of like passion that was there during that time building this business. And it was just one of the most enjoyable times of my life. Like, it was like I was working, probably 70, 80 hours a week at least. Maybe some weeks it was like 50 or 60, but most of the time it was a lot, weekends. And it was just such a great time, even though it was difficult. There was just like this urgency and this like building something that truly meant something to me. It was like, for me personally, it was where I got to prove to myself everything that I had acquired knowledge-wise, everything that I had done up until this point in my business, that I was truly capable of building something great. Like that was really, I was like a proof to myself. Oh man. Evidence to myself that I could actually achieve something great. And it was a moment or a time in my life that I will never regret. And I know will be the foundation for all the success that I have going forward. And I want you all to have this experience where you just have this utmost clarity and focus and dedication to something that truly means something to you. Because this is what I feel like e-commerce is all about. This is what it's about. It's about building something that matters to people. It's not about making money. Like, yeah, you're gonna make money, but like, the fulfilling part is building something that impacts other people, man. Like that's the whole reason we're making content, is like I want people to be impacted and I want to help change people's lives. So like any of you out there who have a dream and you have like this ambition to make a big impact, like I know it gets hard and I know it's difficult, but you have to stick with it because you were destined to do something great. You were destined to be able to have an effect on people, a select few of millions of people here that are going to be impacted by you specifically. And if you don't live up to what you know you want to be, those people won't be impacted the way that you envision. And this life is hard. This life is really difficult. And it's not what social media cracks it up to be. It's really not. It's hard. It's hard work. It's boring work. It's repetitive. It's doing the same thing over and over again. It's tough, but when you get to these moments, you really just got to cherish them and remember that it's more about how far you've come than it is about how far you haven't gotten yet. And if you want to learn more about that concept, which changed my life as well, make sure you read a book called The Gap and the Gain. It's an amazing book. It will change your life. So sorry to get off track there, but like this is about my raw journey. And this is about being raw and being authentic and being real. And this is what I felt in this moment that I want to share with you guys. So sorry for getting a little emotional there. That's kind of how I am. So apologies for that. But here is the lessons during this time, okay? Going from 1.5 million to $500,000 a year, okay? So we backtracked about $1 million a year, and this was a very stressful time. Things can go wrong fast. Expect things to break and have backup plans to mitigate your risk. You will have things go wrong. You will lose money. You will have packaging show up damaged or imperfect. You will have things happen that you don't foresee, no matter what you do. So you have to expect it and just be willing to look at solutions quickly. Don't have your eggs all in one basket. Have a real brand. Having a real brand would have saved us here in this stage. If we had owned our customers, we had a real brand in place. Don't have all your eggs in one basket, like I mentioned. Like, don't just be getting all of your revenue from one sales channel. When you're at the $1 million mark, like you need to start diversifying a little bit and selling your products on other places, third-party platforms, for example, and also obviously your own brand and own website. Owning your traffic and customers is necessary. Own your customers. Don't spend Amazon advertising budget on acquiring customers to give to Amazon. Like, think about that. You're paying to acquire Amazon customers, and then you don't even get their information. Like, yeah, you get sales, but like, think bigger. Like, think about how you want to impact people, and how you want to have more touch points with them after they see you, after they learn about you. And you can do that through obviously having a Shopify website, sending emails and things like that. So those are the lessons. Very important lessons to learn, to not go back from where you are, and to really be thinking about those things when you're going from, you're in that like million and a half stage that I learned looking back. So you can see here that a lot happened this year, and 2022 is where things really start to go crazy and where we really, really risked it all. And I'll tell you a little bit about that story here in a second. 2022, we launched our new business, Gamenetics. We officially launched. The plan was to launch in December or November of the previous year, but we just didn't get to it. So we unfortunately missed out on Q4 sales, which was devastating. We were still heavily in debt from all the money that we invested in the business. And we started out in around January 17th, January 18th, we launched the website. We generated $71,000 in the first 6 weeks through our Shopify. We had no existing social media following. It was from nothing. We went basically from zero to over $600,000 in the first 12 months. So no one knew about who we were. We started a new brand, new business. We did no advertising. And we generated a total of 500,000 followers and over 500 million views on our social media, And we documented our journey by transparency. We literally documented everything that we did in the business and helped our customers to learn more about us and our products. And that year, unfortunately, also going to 2023, our website went down between December 9th and January 25th. So we probably would have done probably $750,000 this year if we didn't have a website go down. That was literally devastating. I'm not going to get into that story, but you might be asking, well, what did you do? What happened? Like, what was the story here? So here's a few pictures of our products and some of the behind the scenes that we were doing during this year. We had a full content studio. We had a videographer. We had content. We were making educational content. Here's me boxing up some orders here that we were sending out. This is really cool. Early stages. We had some, took these product imagery. Like, there was all sorts of stuff that I was doing, and lots of skills that I learned during this process, and stuff from my previous businesses as well. And this is us and the team, kind of presenting the brand book to everyone here. And some of our custom controllers. This was a big moment for all of us. So, during this stage of the business was big. Oops, let's reload that. My bad, guys. But yeah, during this stage was definitely a big deal. Let's zoom in here to where are we at. I think we're over here. Yep. We were really actively growing and things were moving in the right direction. This is us drinking some Celsius together, me and the boys. We had, all this custom packaging was all designed and built by me. Had so much fun designing this, really showed the true potential of it. We did live streams on TikTok. This is me doing a live stream on TikTok, showing controllers. This is me designing a Modern Warfare 2 controller when that game came out. And then this is me. This was me in around this time. And the person that I had to become to really make all this happen. So I want to talk about the story here a little bit, just briefly. So in 2022, the beginning of 2022, we had a meeting with the whole team. This is a very important detail that I need you guys to know, because this is the difficult part of it. Is we had a meeting with everyone about what the business would look like if we kept going the way we were. And we hit January and we started and launched the website. We're like, okay, we have to make some changes. And so we had a very difficult conversation where we had to look at laying some people off, and we looked at our financials and we realized that we had so many obligations to the banks that we had, the loans we had, the lines of credit we had, that we had to make an additional $50,000 in 6 weeks. And it was January 15th. And we were like, okay, we haven't even launched a website yet. It's launching soon, but what are we going to do? So we had to get really creative. And, me being the head of marketing, I was like, okay, we got to figure out how to do this. I was like, well, we could do this or this or this, but nothing was going to get us the results quickly. And so I was like, the one thing that had been sitting in my head that I knew that had potential, and we had seen some success with this platform before, in the previous years, I was training our creative director, who's now our creative director, is we needed to go and focus on TikTok. TikTok had huge potential during this time, and I was like, if there's any platform, anything we do right now, TikTok is the place to go. This has the most potential for us. And I had a ton of social media experience and background, and with video and content creation strategy and all that. I was like, we need to go all in on TikTok. This is the thing we need to do. So we decided, I presented the plan to everyone. Everyone was on board. We went with the plan, and we went, we literally, the only thing that we thought about between January 17th or 18th and the end of February was literally producing TikTok content. All of us were involved in making content. We showcased behind the scenes of the business, and every single day we were making and posting 5 to 6 TikToks per day. Okay. I was working literally, I went from I was working 100-hour weeks. From that point until the end of February, where I started laying off a little bit, every single day for 12 to 14 hours a day, Monday through Sunday, every single day I was there making TikToks. That was the entire focus that we had. And it was very, very intense. And during that time, we had videos pick up and go viral. We had content that we posted that started really gaining traction. We started getting a ton of traffic to our website and we blew up. It was insane, the amount of traffic that we got. And so this was just such an incredible, crazy time during this moment where, man, it was just mind-blowing, like how quickly we were able to get traction. And so that really solidified the future growth of the company that year, where we started doing advertising mid-year. And this time, like my identity and like how I felt about myself was, it was like truly the greatest and proudest moment in work to date. Like it was, man, don't want to get emotional again. Accumulatively 10 years of my business branding knowledge and work. Like it had been an accumulation of all those years that I put in and really channel into one thing. And it was just the thing that I'm most proud of to date at this point in my life. I'm sure there's gonna be other things I'll be proud of, but like this brand is everything that I'm proud of. The vision, the mission, what it stands for, the packaging, the design, everything that you see is, inception from the work that I put in, and it's an amazing feeling, honestly. My confidence and clarity was the strongest it's ever been. I discovered that my superpower was building e-commerce brands. Like this is really where I started to see like, okay, all of the experience I've had, like I truly know how to build an amazing e-commerce brand. Because, just 24 months later, or actually I'm not going to get ahead of myself. Let's talk about 2023. So let's go into the lessons here in this year, and then we'll get to the last little part of this video. But I know this has been long, but I hope this has been good to just share. Like, again, it's meant to be a raw video. It's not meant to have, a certain length. It's just meant to be me talking through like how I got to 373K a month. So yeah. Lessons from 500,000 to $1 million a year. There's more longevity and power from creating a feeling and experience that your customers remember. There's way more longevity in your business from creating a feeling and experience for your customers to remember. Very, very important. Build things you're obsessed with. It'll get you through any hard or difficult time. So I talked about this a little bit earlier, but really leaning into the things that you feel strongly about and you're obsessed with is going to drive you more to continue pushing through those hard times. So if you can find something to be obsessed with, it doesn't even necessarily need to be your product or your industry. It can be something that you want to solve or perfect in your business. It could be the systems. It could be building the culture. It could be anything. Like it could just be perfecting the thing that you're obsessed with. And then be willing to pivot per market conditions. So again, we should have pivoted a little earlier, but I'm glad we did when we did, because it would have been screwed either way if we kept going. But that is a very important part of this process. So those are the lessons that we learned in 2022. So let's move over to 2023 and talk about what happens next. So some of the key highlights from 2023 is we were doing about 50 to 65K months through the year, with about over 500,000 coming in the last 60 days, which is, to me, just completely mind-blowing that we're able to do that. And last month, we're able to hit quite a significant number of $350,000 last month, which is crazy. And we were creating a ton of content and leveling up our advertising ability to scale ads. So last year we made huge moves on our ability to profitably scale ads to a point that, like, even talking to like one of our TikTok representatives, like they are mind blown by the ROAS that we have. I think the average for last year for us was like 6.5 ROAS. So we've really honed down like our creative strategy, our content, what we actually need to make for creatives to get high ROAS, and how that does play into our organic strategy too. We've been able to, since starting, over 1 billion views on our socials with over 1 million followers as well. So we've garnered a massive amount of brand awareness, and we've really become known in the top 5 to 10 custom controller companies in the world in just 2 years. Most of these companies have been around for like a decade. And so we've just had an incredible amount of awareness that it's helped us to be able to reach a lot of people. So this part here is a very big part of the success that we've had. So in the next stage, or the next part, was like where my identity was at this time. And I felt like I was actually making a difference in the lives of our customers and that I was truly living my dream. So this stage was a big part of having that confidence to be able to achieve the things that I wanted to. And I was in a place where I was an entrepreneur doing something I'm passionate about and fulfilling my dream. Now, the other aspect of this too was that I had this strong confidence, almost to a knowledge that I can build successful e-commerce companies. This was a very powerful realization for me because if I knew that I could implement the things that I know to build successful companies, then that knowledge and that belief would carry me through when things got difficult. And so because of all my experience with, building, doing branding and design and, being able to understand marketing and advertising and actually work in a real e-commerce business, and also now I think had an agency for 18 months now. We work with e-commerce brands. Learned how to create success in a company. That has been a huge, powerful, important part of where my focus goes forward. And so each stage of the journey, you have more and more evidence against yourself of what you've actually become and who you've become. And the more proof you have for yourself, the more confidence that you can have towards the specific thing that you're doing. So the longer you do this, the more evidence you have against, proof that you actually done it. It builds that confidence for the next thing you want to do, the next thing you want to focus on, the next stage of your business, right? So this is a very important part. So you might be asking, how did you even get here, right? What happened during 2023 to garner this amount and to make, multiple six figures a month with this business? Well, there was lots of things that we did. We doubled down on what was working. Here's me doing a TikTok live stream where we had the desk set up for controllers and we would showcase, we'd play these different games with our viewers. This would generate sales for us on live streams. Live streams was a big part of what we did as well on TikTok. We kind of showcased building orders, showing us hand signing the cards that we sent out to customers. I was in some pretty viral videos. I don't know if you guys have seen the one, Walmart, me standing up front of Walmart. I think it's collectively gotten over 30 or 40 million views from TikTok to YouTube Shorts to Facebook Reels. Pretty crazy. We've done lots of things, different custom builds people order. I've been able to have a bit more of a lifestyle this last year. And, me and my beautiful wife have been able to take vacations. This is now being able to remove myself a little bit more from the business so that I can focus on more of the strategic, high-level stuff in the business. And now have a team that I help and work with to help us deliver the results for this brand and now other e-commerce brands as well. So this brand is truly something that I'm proud of. This was our DIY kits, took this photo as well. There's a lot of things I did in the business to learn so that I can zoom back now and have more of a strategic direction and focus for the people that work in the company. So really the compounding effect of 2022 took us into 2023, and within a 24-month time span, basically grew the business to doing close to 2 million, 1 billion views on socials, 1 million followers, and I project that we're going to do a lot more in 2024, which I'll talk more about in just a second. I think you guys will be excited to hear about that. So the lessons that I learned in this stage, from the 1 to 1.5 million a year, is the compounding effect is extremely powerful. Keep your focus on the main thing. Now, prior to this year, we had a difficulty with, the Amazon sales, losing 60 to 70% of our revenue, and now being able to build it back up to where we were. This next year, because we built the foundations correctly, and if I could go back and do it again, I would do this from day one, is now we're going to be able to exponentially grow in the future years ahead. And I'm excited to share that with you guys too. We can lean, in this stage, lean more into content creation for your business and understand how to relate and entertain your audience and customers. This is something we did heavily in this year, is identifying what content hits better and then leaning into more the entertainment route as well, and finding ways to make your products entertaining and then also showcase things that are interesting to people as well as education. Focus on one sales channel only. So again, we just focused on building our main channel through TikTok, which has been our primary sales channel. both TikTok organic, content creation, and also paid advertising. We have done a little bit of meta ads as well, but we've basically taken what we've done on TikTok and used those to help fuel our other platforms too. Build a brand and business that matters to people. You know, again, going down that deep route, like you have to do something that truly matters to you and matters to people. And you begin to have enough knowledge that you can have 100% confidence that you can build whatever you did again, but do it faster and even better. So that was like a lesson, is like once you've built something a certain way, you can kind of like take the framework and what you did and then implement it for the next thing that you do. And so that's kind of something that I've been thinking a lot about and been kind of trying to break down, extract, and implement for the brands that we work with now, because we have to reverse engineer the process, right? Because it worked. And I believe that this process is all fundamentally built on the skills and knowledge and expertise that I've developed over the years and the team has developed over the years. So that is 2023, guys. That's been the review of last year. It was an incredible year. Got to speak at an event as well. I'm speaking this year, I think, in Florida at a business event as well, and it's been great. So, you know, what does 2024 look like? Okay, what does 2024 look like? Where are we going to be in 2024? I want to bring my attention back here and talk a little bit about this. So, I hope so far that you guys have learned a lot, and you probably have questions. If you have questions for me, just leave them down below, and please, like, don't be afraid to share any specific questions that you guys have on your heart or in your mind that you're kind of looking for directional guidance on, or something that you related to in this video so far. But 2024, I want to talk about like where we're going and what the direction looks like. And if you guys want to see a breakdown of what our 2024 plans and goals are and where we're headed, what we're trying to do, and you'd like me to document that growth, make sure you subscribe to this channel. Make sure you let me know down below you'd like to see 2024 and what that is projected to do. Right now, I know that we are definitely projected to do several million this year, and I'm really excited about that. I'm hoping that we can get to that like 500,000 a month mark, maybe 1 million a month. That would be kind of crazy. We'd have to grow pretty quick there, but who knows? You know, there's definitely potential to get to that point. And I kind of want to document more and be even more transparent about like how this e-commerce business is being built, because there are so many people who talk about e-commerce online, who talk about like drop shipping and all these things that we've talked about. They're 100% relative to drop shipping as well. They just implemented on a much easier scale, because building a real e-commerce company takes a lot more time, a lot more moving pieces. And so you just need to implement certain things of this framework to really be successful with drop shipping. But like, I have lived this. I've been in the e-commerce business. I now kind of manage and run all the marketing and the strategy behind this brand. And I've been able to kind of put my attention to help other brands do the same thing. And so like this 2024, the compounding effect of the last 2 years is going to probably take us a lot higher this year. I'm really excited for that. And I really just want to wrap up with like my concluding thoughts and anything that's on my mind regarding this video, because this video was about the raw journey of going from a fat broke entrepreneur to 373K a month. To basically round out this video and explain to you guys, like, we're making $350,000 a month with our e-commerce company. I made $20,000 a month from my agency that we help e-com brands grow and scale. We're very, very strict on who we work with, because we just want to work with good brands like GameNetics. You can go to the website and check out the brand too, GameNetics.com. You can go and take a look at the website, have a look at the custom builder. It's pretty crazy. We do about $3,000. I do about $3,000 a month with our rental property that we have right now. We have a duplex that we rent out. So about $373,000 a month. And let me tell you guys a little bit about like what it's like to be on this side of things, because this is the insightful part that I really wanted to get to really hone in and share the things that I wish other people would share who are successful. Okay. Comparing myself from where I am now to where I was even 2 years ago, I am a completely different person. I have different habits. I have a different mindset. I've developed more skills. But even so, I still feel like myself. Like I still feel like the same broke entrepreneur that I was, and I'm reminded of when I first started, where there are certain things, like I don't feel like I've really made it yet. Like I look at our numbers and I look at our ad results and I look at Shopify dashboard and I see, $1 million, $2 million, or I see, 6, 7, 8 ROAS, and I'm like it's great. Like I'm glad we're growing and we're learning. And I look at like last month doing 350,000. I'm like, this is awesome. But I don't like it hasn't actually changed anything about my life. Like you don't, when you make more money and when you make progress in your business, you don't, like nothing really changes. Like yes, maybe you can afford other things and certain things, and you have the means to live for months without having to worry about it, making money, or you have investments, or you can start putting money into things you enjoy, or whatever the case may be. But nothing about you changes, in the sense that it's just all a game. And that's what I've come to realize, is like I've been seeking to find that fulfillment and excitement about being able to have a nice car or a nice house and all these other things. And some of these things I have now, some of these things I'm going to be having very soon, which I'll keep you guys updated on that. But like, I'm still the same person. I'm still Jordan. Like I'm still that same person that I was when I started. I've just learned a thing or two. I've just become more of myself. And so, yes, there's this euphoria behind achieving new goals, but you're still in that same place that you are right now in the future. Like the same struggles you have, the same thoughts, the same, feelings, the brain and the brain programming that you have about, how you think about yourself, how you view the world, how you see life, that all stays the same. So if you're not currently happy with your own reality, then you more than likely won't be happy when you have more money. And that's something that I'm personally starting to realize more, and being transparent with you guys, is like, I need to work on some personal things, because it's like, yeah, 373K a month. Wow, this dude's like really successful. I don't feel like I am. I feel like there's still so much work I need to do about myself. Like, like I've come tremendous amount from losing the weight that I have, but I'm still not where I want to be, like I still have things that I want to do. And I think that's the entrepreneur in me. Like I always want to be better, you're always going to want to be better. So you have to find a place where you can be content and happy with who you are right now, but still be driven to achieve more and become more, because life is about progress. Life is about making 1% change every day, 1%, getting 1% better. And if you're not focused on growth and you're more focused on those destination points in your life, you're going to get there and just stop. And then you stop and then you backtrack. Trust me, I've been there. I've been there so many times where I've reached a destination, yay, I've made it. And then all of a sudden, months go by and I'm backtracking. So understand this, that when we talk about the raw journey of getting here, once you get there, once you get to that place that you've been wanting to get to, understand that nothing about your life really changes that much. And you still have the same thoughts, the same feelings, the same attitude, the same way you view life. So if that isn't where it needs to be right now, you have some more work to do. Just because you make 5,000, 10,000, 15,000, 20,000, 50,000 a month, you're not going to be happy when you make 200,000 a month. You just won't. So money makes things easier and better and less stressful, and life is lighter, and you're able to solve certain financial problems easier, but like you don't change. So if there's things that you need to work on, make sure you address them now. Start working them as you grow your business, as you start working towards your goals. If you want to build a 100K a month business, great. I commend you. I know you can get there. But understand that you have to work on yourself too. And that's something that I've had to come to that realization, is that it's more about who you become in order to achieve the goals you have, rather than helping the business become what it needs to be, because you don't change. You're just going to revert back to your old habits. You're just going to go back to the person you once were. And there's that constant battle in your head about who you once were and who you're trying to become. You're going to go back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. And I know you have that mental battle every day. I know you have that mental battle every week. because I have that same battle. I have the same exact battle in my head every day, every week. I'm getting complacent, or I'm trying to find that deeper reason why I should keep going. Like those moments in life, like those experiences are always going to be there. You're always going to be feeling this pressure to be complacent and feeling this pressure to be better. And you've got to be able to find a balance where you can keep pushing yourself and find that why to be better every day and not backtrack. And this is as much of a message for me as it is for you. I'm not perfect. Just because I can say that I make $373K a month, it doesn't make me any better than you. It's just that I've done it longer, I've stuck to one thing, I've learned some things, and I've got the right people in place. And that's how real I want to be with you guys going forward in the channel. So I like this style of content. There's a lot of people making this kind of content. And I feel relieved because this is the type of content that I enjoy making. I've just been scared to make it because I start putting myself out there even more and start being vulnerable. Well, then it just gives more ammo to the people who are going to, say crap, or, it's going to give them more fuel, right? But I do it because I want to help give you guys a real, true look at what it looks on the other side, right? Just like you. Just done a little longer, figured a few things out, and I still struggle with the same things that you do, internally, right? That I'm trying to work through and become better. So that's going to be it for this video. I just had a couple of notes that I wanted to note out. Is like, if you are a business owner who's doing over $25,000 a month in your e-commerce business, and you'd like to have a little conversation about how we could help you grow, then you can book in a call with me down below. I'd love to speak with you and see if there's something we can do to work together. And then the next video, what I'm going to be doing is, per you guys' feedback, probably want to document anyway, is writing down what these 2024 goals are and how we plan to get there. So subscribe if you want to learn about that. Appreciate you guys watching all the way to the end. I know it's been super long. Would appreciate your genuine feedback down below. Give me some direction for future content. And yeah, guys, looking forward to continue to help you guys with whatever you need to help you grow your e-commerce business and generate more sales. Thanks so much, guys. We'll see you in the next video.